Challenge accepted. I promise to upload a video of the smallest rocket to reach orbit in Kerbal Space Program on my channel within 2 weeks.
That was my reply to another comment under this other YouTuber's video. We was making the smallest rocket possible in KSP, because it made me think, how small can a conventional rocket be and still fly all its way to low orbit? So I went to the drawing board and started to build. We'll start with a very lightweight probe core Octo 2. Then we'll put a conventional nose cone, 4 baguette fuel tanks stacked on top of each other like a column, so that they are very aerodynamic. Put a spark engine in the middle as a main engine, and then we'll need 2 spider engines on the sides to give us some roll authority, some roll control. And just before we take off, we need to add a small battery pack to power avionics, to power MechJeb autopilot, and we have a final mass of 1.5 tons, which is the lightest SSTO I could make. Here we are for the ascent of the rocket. It will take around 3 minutes to get into orbit. First of all, before we even take off, I'm using some mods. You will notice, in fact, the blue graph on the left. That comes from MechJeb, the autopilot mod, and essentially it's taking control of the rocket for now. And I plotted in an optimized ascent curve, an ascent profile, which works really well with this rocket. There's a number of reasons for this profile. It's not a very horizontal one. It's quite steep, a bit steeper than you would think for larger rockets. The reason being is because this rocket is quite draggy. I guess that comes with being very small, and in proportion for its mass, it creates a decent amount of drag, and so you must fly high initially in order to get rid of that drag, otherwise you will lose too much delta V. Now this video here is sped up twice, just so I can show it more concisely. There's also, delta V again. Consider having more than 4 kilometers per second of delta V at full fuel, because this rocket does lose a considerable amount of it due to drag. And I know that with bigger rockets you can go with 3.5 kilometers per second and you'll be fine, but this is not the case. Now, we're still burning at 30 kilometers, but the throttle 2 is automated, and these tiny bursts are the throttle being guided by MechJeb, and it's trying to keep the apoapsis above 70 kilometers. Now the bursts will get more infrequent, and I'll take over with the throttle. I recommend always to go back to manual drive beyond a certain point, because you don't have any sort of RCS or stability system on board. So you'll have to throttle down to about 1% the engines and use them for torque. You essentially want to keep your nose straight by burning fuel. It's not efficient, but if you do it very slightly with a throttle limiter, you will manage to save enough fuel to complete an orbit. Right now you can see the fumes are still ejecting. Now I am increasing my throttle again to complete the circularization burn. We do this to raise our periapsis so that the orbit becomes circular and consistently above the atmosphere. Look at that. Reminds me of a crayon, really. I don't know why. I should have named it the crayon rocket, but it looks great. And yeah, the ascent profile doesn't matter anymore. So just use MechJeb if you like for the initial part of the ascent. It's not necessary, but it will help a big deal. And here's the challenge I sent to Matt Lowne, big KSP producer. My challenge is for you, Matt, to make a rocket even lighter. This is the mass of mine. even lighter than my rocket that can achieve low orbit. If you liked this tutorial video, consider checking out more content on this channel. If you really liked this video, then consider subscribing and have a great day.